You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we have another amazing show lineup for y'all today. We have our special guest. He is Kirk Goldsberry, the author of Hoop Atlas, mapping the remarkable transformation of the modern NBA. First and foremost, Kirk, true honor talking to you, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Shemai. Thanks for having me on. Man, San Antonio is a very important place to me and my family, so it's nice to talk to you.
Man, you are a legend, if I can say that, man. I will. You are a legend, man. With all the work that you contribute to basketball and the sport, just want to say thank you for what you've been doing with all your great work. Tell us about this awesome book because, man, we all know it's exciting times in the NBA. So much talent. Give us your take.
Yeah, my take is the most interesting thing in the NBA over the last sort of 30 years since Michael Jordan is just the dramatic sort of evolution of the sport at large at 100,000 feet. The NBA's kind of turned inside out, modernized itself, and the games we're watching in 2024 bear little resemblance to the ones we were watching in 1994. And with Hoop Atlas, I really wanted to map out that evolution and that process, but not just explain how the games are changed, but look at which players, which sort of iconic classic superstars from Michael Jordan to Allen Iverson to even Bruce Bowen and Manu Ginobili there in San Antonio, epitomized or in some cases influenced this incredible metamorphosis in pro basketball in the 21st century.
When it comes to how players can bend the league to their will, I mean, we've seen it with a lot of these young stars today. I mean, right now in the playoffs, we're seeing it happen. What is your understanding based on how you've been able to cover these players? How are they able to do such a thing, bend the league at their own will with their God-given talent?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, some of the greatest players of all time win championships and don't really influence the future direction of the league. And I'll give you one example. San Antonio's own Shaquille O'Neal, at least as a high school student, was clearly the most dominant player of the early 21st century. And the Lakers won 3 championships. But that style of play didn't really come to influence many people down the road. He was no disrespect to Shaq. But then when the beloved Spurs came in 2003 and dethroned them, they had a few things on the 2003 Spurs that actually changed the basketball that we're watching now. One is the corner three with Bruce Bowen. Who could forget Bruce knocking down corner threes? But the other one was the Euro step from Manu Ginobili. And one of the things I love about Manu is not only his success as a winner, but his ability to introduce pro basketball to the Euro step, which is now a fundamental. Now you can't watch Giannis or LeBron or the other Luka Doncic, the other great players, without seeing the move that Manu really popularized. And that's what Hoop Atlas is really about, is things like the corner three and things like the Euro step that have come to define the modern game, Shemaya, that they were introduced and battle tested and proven to be very effective in the best basketball league in the world. And that's really what I want to celebrate with this book.
And speaking of the corner three revolution, man, the increased efficiency of the offensive side of the sport, can you dive a little bit deeper for our audience how these trends are impacting the game today?
Yeah, and I think it's analogous to what happened in baseball in the analytics era, Shemaya, and that's simple. It's like people like me started infiltrating front offices like the Spurs and started to really understand the interaction between shot selection, personnel, and what wins basketball games, what's winning in the NBA, putting numbers on things and really effectively understanding at a very high level what plays work, what plays don't work, what shots work, what shots don't work. And that has really changed how teams and players approach the sport. The corner three, I think, epitomizes that, Shemaya. Again, that started with Greg Popovich and Bruce Bowen and Tim Duncan and in San Antonio, and the Spurs really were the first team to, what I say, weaponize spacing, put Bruce in that weak side corner. You try to double Tim Duncan on the left block, the ball's going to fly around the edge, and there's Bruce hitting another corner three. That's common practice now. And that corner three is really the most efficient shot outside the paint in the game. And that's why it's stunningly now 1 of 10 shots in the NBA, and you'll see it in these playoffs, are coming from the corners.
We're talking to Kirk Goldsberry, author of Hoop Atlas, Mapping the Remarkable Transformation of the Modern NBA. A couple more questions for you. Looking ahead, when you see how this league is going global like crazy and is evolving and changing every single season, how do you see it to continue to expand with the global talent? And also part 2 will be, what role do you feel analytics will play in shaping the future of the game?
Great question. And again, I'll use one of our beloved Spurs as the main character for my answer. I think one of the big themes in Hoop Atlas is the globalization of the game. And I don't think any NBA team sort of leveraged that and saw the future of the global game, as well as R.C. Buford and Greg Popovich in San Antonio. And we already talked about Manu and obviously Tony. But in the 2020s, it's about this dude named Victor Wembanyama, another great European player who's doing things at his size that we never thought were possible 10 years ago. It's that simple. A 7'4" dude shooting step back threes. What are you talking about? I would have called you crazy 10 years ago. To me, Wemby really epitomizes how an individual player can introduce a challenge what greatness can look like. When you were 7'4" 20 years ago, you went down to the low blocks and that's where you lived. Now he's dribbling, he's running pick and rolls, and he's one of the most exciting players. But to me, he epitomizes how big men are more skilled than ever before, like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, and how the game is growing globally, and how many of the best players in the league are coming from overseas. So looking forward, I see taller players having more skills. I see more global players infiltrating the league. And analytics is never going anywhere now. We're going to continue to monitor things and quantify things analytically that are going to help us understand what greatness looks like, for better or for worse, in the NBA.
And I'm going to squeeze one more question real fast.
Sure, brother.
What is your thoughts on this amazing series that we're going to be able to watch tonight? The Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks. Whoever thought New York Knicks would be getting this far, they are on fire right now.
And they're very lovable, too, I think, Shemai. I think they pretty much brought a college reunion to the NBA in this Villanova Wildcats group that includes Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson, who's somehow leading the league leading the playoffs in scoring, despite being just a small dude, averaging 35 plus a night, which is ridiculous. So for me, it's an old school Reggie Miller at the Garden vibe. But these games aren't going to look like those Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller games of the 90s. They're going to be wide open, fast, sprawling, and tons of skill all over the court. But anytime we're watching playoff basketball, meaningful basketball games at Madison Square Garden, if you're an NBA fan, we're ahead, man. And last thing, that's where the Spurs won their first title in 1999, Madison Square Garden. So Spurs fans can have a positive association watching that series too.
What's magical is it makes me think back to the recent All-Star this year. Where was it? It is very timely to see these two playing tonight. So first and foremost, too honored talking to our guest, Kirk Goldsberry, the author of Hoop Atlas, Mapping the Remarkable Transformation of the Modern NBA. Man, great time talking to you, man. You have a great one, sir.
Thank you, Shemai.